She was thinking, Awele realized something strange about her dress. It had some strange muddy stains on it, stains that weren't there the day that she hung it up in her room. Confused as to how the stains got there, Awele's mind was taken aback to her strange experience during the night when she felt a strange presence in her room and was unable to move. Desperate for answers, Awele rushed out of her hut in search of her father and cousins. She searched the entire village for them and came across a strange old woman who told her that the answers she sought were right in her home. The woman said to her that the dress she bought from the thrift store was behind all that was happening. Awele asked how this was possible, and the woman informed her that the dress was possessed by a restless spirit and that the dress had the ability to possess its owner. This explained why her neighbor saw her walking out of her hut with her father and cousins that night. Awele, now filled with shock, asked the woman if she knew where her father and cousins were, and the woman told her to return home and wear the dress, as only then would she be able to find the answers that she so desperately yearned. Awele thanked the strange woman and returned home. She stared at the dress for a while and could not believe that the dress was possessed by a restless spirit. Awele feared what would happen to her if she eventually wore the dress, but the thought of her father and cousins in danger filled her with so much courage as she decided to put on the dress. Immediately, Awele noticed the strange spirit taking over her body. She found herself walking to an unknown destination. Awele was so conscious of all that was happening around her, despite the fact that she no longer had control of her body. She found herself walking for hours to an unknown place deep in the forest. Not long afterwards, she arrived at a very big hut in the middle of the forest. They walked into the hut, and Awele was so eager to find her father and cousins in the hut, but the hut seemed to be empty and surprisingly quiet. It had an eerie feel to it, and this terrified Awele, who wondered why the spirit was there. She began to panic and did everything possible to connect with the spirit but couldn't, and this frustrated her greatly to know that she had no control of her body. She felt like a puppet being controlled by an external force and hoped that she made the right decision to wear the dress. However, Awele noticed something strange about the spirit in her. It seemed to be searching for something in the hut as it moved her from one room to the other, ransacking the entire hut. Awele tried to speak to the spirit again, but to no avail. Before she knew what was happening, the spirit took her out of the hut and began to walk so briskly. Awele felt helpless as she had no control of all that was happening. It was now getting dark, and Awele could not believe that her Christmas turned out to be such a terrible day. The thought of something terrible happening to her father and cousins terrified her greatly as she continued to plead with the spirit to take her to them, but the spirit ignored her as they arrived a second hut. This time, the spirit stood in a distance and stared at the hut. Awele wondered why they were there, as all the spirit did was stare at the strange hut without making any attempt to move. Suddenly, Awele noticed tears pouring down her eyes. It was the spirit, crying, and Awele knew that she had to connect with the spirit to understand all that was happening. She tried to speak to the spirit again, but got no response from it. So, Awele then decided to sing a song that her late mother sang to her whenever she was sad. Immediately, the tears pouring down her eyes ceased, and Awele heard a still voice that asked her where she learned the song. Shocked to hear the spirit speaking to her, Awele told the spirit that her late mother sang the song to her whenever she was sad. The spirit then revealed to her that the song reminded her of her late mother too. Awele was so grateful that the spirit was now communicating with her, so she asked the spirit why she was crying, and the spirit told her that the house in the distance was her home. She revealed that a few years ago,